What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mr. Madrid from the Mr. Madrid Show, and today we have a very special guest by the name of Linda Aybar. She is somebody who I didn't even meet in person, but I heard of her. And then I started following her movement and all the amazing things that she does. One of the things that I'm going to highlight before she comes and starts talking is the fact that I respect a woman that is a hustler, first and foremost, right? I have a daughter, and that's super inspiring to be able to, like showcase that and show my daughter the things that are possible. So she's an entrepreneur. She's a go-getter. She's a hustler. She is a host of the Saturday show on Hot 97 that starts at 10 in the morning. I've tuned in a bunch of times, and it's really fun to watch and just to see the different personalities on there and see all the cool things that they have going on. And then she also hosts a bunch of other things that I'll let her get into. But welcome on to the show, Linda. Pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
Yes.
excited. This has been we've been trying to plan this for how long?
For a,
Since
cou-
last
for a
year.
couple months. Yeah, for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we
I'm
um
excited.
we cross paths without meeting each other at the Pasaporte NYC event that happened. I think it was back in October. I flew up for that event actually,
Yes.
which is super dope. And then from then on, like I've been watching your movement, everything that you do, and I was like, I gotta get her on the
Well, I
show. And I
saw your
shot my shot.
interview first. Yes, you shot your shot, but I had seen your interview with our mutual friend, Alfonseca Films, who's Jose
Yes.
Alfonseca, who I call Loser because I know him as Loser Films. And you
Yes.
too.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny with Loser Films is like he welcomes the name, right? So he's like, if you call me Loser Films, it is like I know that you know me from back in the day. If you call me Alfonseca Films, it's from now. So that's super dope. Shout out to
Yes.
him. But
Shout
I'm
out to him.
super glad that you're on the show today. As I do to all my guests, one of the very first questions that I always ask is just so you can go ahead and give your intro to yourself is who is Linda Abar?
Okay, so I hate having to introduce myself. Linda Aybar. She goes by Aybar. She goes by everything Aybar. She goes by DJ Linda. I am a woman, a Renaissance woman, how a lot of people like to call it, or a woman of multi trades. I carry a lot of hats. I do a lot, and I do a lot because I felt like I didn't want to limit myself to all the skills that I wanted to learn. So how better way than to just brand it all under one and call it everything A bar. So A bar is also my last name. My dad didn't have any boys, he had three girls, and I wanted to pass down the last name in a different way because I know that one day I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna change my last name the same way my mom did. I'm gonna take my husband's last name and I'm no longer gonna be A bar. And I wanted to find a beautiful, creative way where I can just not let the last name die out. And I branded it
That's
under
powerful.
myself.
That's
Hmm.
powerful. That's powerful.
Yes.
That's
So
dope.
under everything, should I? This is where I like list everything I do.
Yeah, yeah. Drop it. Drop,
Okay.
drop
All right.
all the
Let's go through the
awesome things
list.
you do.
All right, let's start with my retired things. I'm a retired DJ, retired choreographer, retired promoter. Well, technically, I'm not retired on that, but I have a document agency where we provide immigration services, divorce services, marriage services. I am an officiant. I marry people. We also host weddings here. Do business registration. I'm an accountant. We do taxes, trademarking. I'm a notary public. We assist with any little small basic applications that applying for coupons, Medicaid, filling out a form for a job, things that, a lot of people who are either illiterate or elder or old or just don't know how to read English, we assist with
Right.
that. Side of that, as everything A bar, I do entertainment. As you mentioned, I'm a host on Hot 97, two shows, one on the street. It's called What's the Word? And on Saturdays at 10 a.m., I'm with Ken Stars and Ray Ray doing Tri State of Mind at 10 a.m. I'm also a painter. I am a private chef. I do interior design. Hold on. I'm a writer. I'm self-published author of four books. One of my books is actually gonna have 9 years on April 19. Trying to think what else am I missing? And I'm a yogi. I think that's it. I think that's it.
That's a lot of things that you do. That's awesome. And it was dope to know too is that on social media, you kind of show all those different hats that you wear little by little. Like I see that. Like it's always like, so you're doing yoga, you're over here on the Que Lo Que, being a host there, High 97, you're running your own business. So it's dope to see because a lot of times, like when you talk to people and they see the things or even the plans that you have, they're like, oh, just focus on one. You're doing it and you're
It's
killing it.
so crazy you just said that. So you know what's funny? What happened? And this is how life comes full circle. Legit, this week, early on Monday, I was on a women's panel for the Women's Venture Fund. Shout out to them in Harlem, and I was sharing on that panel something that literally those legit words were told to me back in 2017, and it's crazy because the person that told me that texted me this week, and they're like, "You're on Hot 97? Like what?" And it's an old colleague of mine, from my last job, the last job that I ever held, which oh shoot, speaking of, how long ago was 2017?
9 years.
9 years ago today, I got fired from my last job.
A blessing in this. Damn, Linda, we're gonna.
Yes. It's crazy. Look how life does full circle. So he texted me this week and I was like, you remember that time you pulled me to the office and you're like, Linda, you're so good at a lot of the things that you do, but why don't you focus on one thing? And I looked at him, I'm like, you don't get it. You don't get it. You're not gonna get it. Because by this time, I already have 5 years in as everything A-bar. And I'm like, one day this is gonna make sense to everybody that doesn't get it. But I
Right.
can't give up on my own vision because I'm the only person that can actually see it. Oh, it was literally hearing that all the time, like, "You can't do everything," and I was like, "Oh, really? Okay, alright, let me
Yeah.
go register myself as everything A-bar."
It's almost like you don't know everything that goes through my brain. Like I can like I hear that too very often. I'll be honest. Like I have people that tell me they're like, just focus on one. It's like I can't just focus on one thing because once I get bored of that thing for the moment, I could then be creative over here, and you can. So is that what you get? Where it's like not bored in the sense that you put it
You
down
hit it
forever.
nail
It's
on
just
the
like
head.
okay,
Nail on the head. I get bored easily. So
right,
for me, I was just like, how do I make and my first policy at my company, because that's a beautiful thing about starting your own company. You can like make your own policies, right? So my number one policy is it has to be fun, which is why my domain is www.abar.fun. Because if it's not fun, we're not doing it. But to
right,
me, taxes are fun. To me, doing immigration and stuff is fun. That's fun for me. It's not fun for the people that come and are sitting behind or going through the process. So I wanted to find a way to make this smooth and also like give my clients peace with things that stress them out and they don't sleep at night because of it. And I
right,
wanted to take away that ease. And I started doing a majority of all these things when I was 16. I was literally 16 when I started doing taxes, divorces, immigration, all that stuff, translating. It was literally my second job. And I was working in an agency. And first, they were up on 164 and Broadway. And then we moved to Nagel and 207. So, and it's still there. It's called Daniel Document Service. And I was 4 years with that man. He's the same man that brought my parents into the country. He's the same man that did their
wow,
taxes for many years. And once I started working there, like I started doing my parents' taxes. So it's like, I've been doing my parents' taxes since I was 16.
what? That's
It's crazy,
so.
right?
What got you interested in doing it? Like, how did you stumble upon all the things that you offer, right? Like, at 16 years old, what exposed you to that?
So before I started working there that summer, well, actually that spring, I decided, all right, let's backtrack. My first job was when I was 13. Legit started the Monday after I graduated 8th grade. I was insistent about getting a job because I made a bet with my cousin that I was gonna have a job before him. And I got a
Mm,
job as a secretary in the church because I was a church girl. I was always in church. I went to Catholic schools. I would do CCD. I did CCD until I was 22 years old. And I started when I was 12. I was an altar server. I did a lot for the church. So I was like, why not just get a job here and be the secretary? I already know
right,
everybody here. And that was my first job. And I got bored. I'm about to enter the junior year. It's about to hit the summer. And I decided I wanted to become a lifeguard. So I got my lifeguard license. And I have a lot of hidden secrets. I become a lifeguard and I got a job as a lifeguard. And I'm posted at a private building in Riverdale, in the Bronx, and I experienced racism for the first time. So they
oh,
have all the Latinos and the blacks doing all the work, and they're sitting watching the pool while we're moving the benches and stuff. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And one day, there was a week. Just the last week of June, I was given 2 days off back to back. So it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday type thing. And I'm like,
right.
great, awesome. The day before my 2 days off, I was having lunch with one of my coworkers, and I'm like, yo, I'm not coming back after today. And he's like, Linda, stop joking. I'm like, no, I'm so serious. I'm not coming back after today. I can't take this anymore. So I go home and I go to my dad and I tell my dad, I'm like, papi, tengo gente. So he calls him and he's like, oh, so I have to come in tomorrow. So the next day we had beach plans. Me and my sister was going to the beach with my sister. And I'm like, yo, I gotta go to an interview before we go to the beach. So she takes me and it's like 11 in the morning and he gives me a Dominican birth certificate. And he's like, here, translate this. So I'm like, okay. And then I go and I sit down, I translate the document, give it to him. He makes corrections, give it back to me. I go fix them, take it back to him. He makes another correction. Then he starts signing them. And then like an hour goes by. But at this point, like he's already given me like 2 or 3 birth certificates.
Right.
And I'm like, so how do I know like when the interview is over or when do I get the job? He's like, oh, I thought you were starting today. And I was like, oh, my sister's outside. I'm supposed to go to the beach. He's like, also come back tomorrow. And I'm like, great. I called the other job. I'm like, oh, somebody died in the ER. I gotta go. I'm sorry. I can't come
Yeah.
back to work anymore.
It's over. Bye.
That's it. Mateo muerto. And that's how I started working in the agency and learning everything I did. And that man taught me everything. Like, he was already like, I had like in his prime, like yeah, past like he was still in his prime. And I experienced learning how to move an office to a different like there was a lot of things I learned, like IT stuff I learned with him because he was Dominican. He was like first generation Dominican, but also had learned the English language and learned the system. And again, he brought my parents. My parents came in 1979, 1980. At this point, that means he was like in his early 20s, excelling. And my parents would talk about how prime he was during their young years.
Right.
He out also those relationships that he had and his marriages, how it caused him to go through a downfall or a setback. And it was a lot that I learned from him. He took me under his wing and I flew, but I reached a ceiling at one point where it's like it's a small business. And from there, I left and I went to work at I'm not sure you should be familiar with this, but I worked at Papacito when it had just
Yes.
opened. Yes. So I was the
Yes.
daytime manager at Papacito when it first opened, and I got to experience the restaurant industry. And this is where the restaurant industry started for me.
Okay.
Hmm.
Pasitos. Yes. Papacito and Dykeman. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
So, okay. So you took a break away from what you were doing. So you said you left, went to Papacitos.
Oh, I
How
didn't
did,
finish the story.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. Someone
It's just
metido.
that the story is so
I'm
long.
like, tell me more.
So I lead to Papacito, right?
Uh,
And I had 3 clients that followed me. 3 clients that insisted, no, Linda, you're the one that does my work. You're the one that has my case. That like I need you to finish it. I don't trust nobody else. And I said, all right, fine. You know what? These 3 people, I'm gonna just get them out the way. And I had this one of my boys, he was doing his taxes with me. Till this day, he still does his taxes with me. Shout out to you, Ronald. And he's like, yo, you still doing taxes? That's the infamous question of my life. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, like I don't have a software, but I figured it out. I was like, you know what? Let me just finish with these people. And I was like, I'll just keep it like a little side hustle. And here I am, technically 19 years later,
damn.
about to be 20 years. Because the day that I went in for the interview was June 28, 2006. Never forget because I have the pictures from the beach. So
Right.
that is my paralegal anniversary. That's what I call it. Because it just walked me through those steps. But honestly, it's crazy. I'm 16 and my plans was since I was 5 years old, and you can ask anybody that's known me since I was a little girl, what did I want to be when I grow up? I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have my sketchbooks there. Like I still have my sketchbooks with the designs. Actually, I think I have one there and I could show it to you. With all my designs in it. I wanted to go to FIT. And then when it got to me applying to college, that's when things got real. And then I also learned that FIT judges your sketches in order to let you in. And I was like, I'm not gonna let you guys judge my sketches to determine if I
Yeah.
should be in your school. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. So at this point, I'm a DJ. So my plan was, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just go study marketing because one of the entrepreneurs in my life, who's still one of my great friends, he told me, Linda, you're more into the business of fashion than the fashion of fashion. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go study marketing in City Tech. And if anything, I could switch over to fashion marketing if I change my mind. But I
Right.
went to study marketing and I'm gonna use my degree to blow up my DJ career. And once I have all the money, I'm gonna open up my own line. Boom. Plan failed, but that was the plan.
Right. 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 So where did you go from there? And this is like I love the story so far that you, like, which is all true, your life
Mhm.
story. What's amazing is that you don't give up. You just like the
I mean,
fact
what
that
else
you
are we
were.
gonna do?
But the thing is, that's the beautiful part about it is that the reason this is gonna be a dope episode 2 is because you're showing that, like, you weren't with being a lifeguard, you weren't taking it no more, you put it in your brain that you're like, "I'm not coming back." You told your boy at the job, and then, like, you not only did you manifest the opportunity, but you created the opportunity that wasn't even there, which is dope. I don't know if you realize it, but
No,
the
I
fact that you
didn't. You just made me realize.
yeah, you got me locked in. The fact that you tell your pops, like, "Yo, llama fulanito," you know.
That was my mindset. I'm like, I can't do this, like pulling like chairs, beach chairs, and just watching people in case they drown. And they had me in the kiddie pool. That was the other thing. I'm like, why y'all don't put me in the big people pool?
I need more responsibilities, and this is serious business for me. But
Yes.
it's dope. So continue. What
Okay,
happened from there?
so I decided in 2011. I kept on when I was at the agency, one of the girls kept on telling me, like, Linda, get your notary license, get your notary license, get your notary license. And I told myself after I left, if I get my notary license, that's the only way I'm gonna start the business. And
Right,
I got my notary license October 2012, which is my business anniversary. Even though I named myself Everything A-Bar in 2011, I don't consider my business established until I got my notary license, which was that day. And that's actually my anniversary. I'm going on 14 years this October in business. Next year will be 15.
that's what's up.
Yeah, my baby.
That's
And it's
what's up.
crazy
Congrats.
because I started the business and I ignored it for almost 5 years from till 2017. That's when I actually started like, let me start marketing my business. At this point, I already had my degree. I ended up graduating from BCC. That's a whole nother story. But I ended up going from from City Tech to BCC and getting my marketing degree at BCC. And I was really persistent in focusing on the business. But what I was missing was capital. I didn't have money. I
Right.
needed money for my business. And I wasn't seeing that. But then I'm literally in California in 2017 when I had moved over there and I was living there for like 4 months. I drove cross country from New York to Cali with my ex and we moved to California.
Shit. Okay.
It was very crazy. I remember sitting in the living room and I was just like, yo, I really need to focus on my business. And I switched my name from my main page from Linda Listen to Everything A Bar.
Okay.
And I still reserve the name, which now I keep it as like my personal page because I'm like, I still want the Linda Listen. I didn't want
Yeah.
nobody to have it. And
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
yes, I have my page, Linda Listen, because everybody when the whole little Linda Listen thing happened, everybody's
Yeah.
like, Linda, listen, listen, Linda. And it was so annoying that I changed my name to that. So I was like, let me focus on the business. I'm like, I need people to remember this brand. And I didn't like finalize my logo till probably like 2020, 2021. The A, it didn't become a thing till then because I was still like trying to discover like, what am I doing with this? And how am I
So
tying this in for everybody to understand what I'm doing? I don't want to take away from everything that I do. Like how do I unify it? And that's when I was like, let me just call it Everything A Bar.
right.
Even the DJ stuff, it could fall under there. But I had to retire first from DJing in order to focus on Everything A Bar because I went through a transition. I was known as DJ Linda to now be known as A Bar. And I knew that was gonna take time.
Yeah, because you have to rebuild it. So pause for a second. So what led
Yes.
you? I know you said your ex, but why California? Why did you guys choose California?
I hate Florida. Sorry. I do not like Florida. So I was not going to Florida. Everybody that leaves New York goes to Florida too. That's the
And
other
then
thing.
comes that was the thing too. Like
And comes
everybody
back.
comes
But I
back.
ain't gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I personally, I also don't like your water. It irritates my skin, and I have very sensitive skin, and I can't
Okay.
deal with the heat waves over there. But anyways, shout out to the Floridans. It was either that, so it was either Florida or Cali, and I was like, "I'm gonna go to Cali, plus weed is legal over there, and I
Right.
smokes. I'll just have a easier lifestyle over there." And I wasn't gonna I didn't consider Texas for some reason, which I think maybe if I would've gone to Texas, I would've still been out there. But anyways, go to California. I literally planned that move in 2 weeks. I was having an epiphany in my dining room table, and I just looked at my ex, and I was like, "What if we moved to California?" And he
Mm,
was like, I mean, that could work. And I was like, I had just gotten the message change your setting. So that's how embedded the message was to me that I literally thought that God was telling me, change your physical settings. I got up from New York, I planned it in 2 weeks, and I moved cross country to California. We drove over there, we made a stop. It took us 4 days. We stopped in Chicago. then in Colorado, then in Vegas, and then we got to Cali. And
Wow.
it was an amazing trip. Like if anybody has ever has the opportunity to drive cross country, even if it's just for like just for the scenery of it,
Just for the
it
yeah.
is beautiful. It's so Colorado, oh my God, Colorado's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah, I've never I that's one trip I wanna take. I've always wanted to go to Colorado, the whole Aspen thing to go skiing, and then Cali just because you see it in the movie. Like, I'm a big Pretty Woman fan. I love that movie. So just seeing,
Yes, 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 yes.
you know?
But you know
So
what's funny? I moved so I know California is expensive. So I ended up moving to San Diego to a little town called El Cajon.
okay.
And it's crazy how life works. Because of all places I decided to move, I only had one friend in California. And listen to the story. This is how big and amazing God is. I only had one friend that I knew out there in California. And to say friend at that time is like it was more a person that I met through a mutual friend partying. So as much as we've gotten to know each other in the same space we've been in, it's been in party scene, in a party setting, not
Right.
like like outside of anything else, like just chilling, getting to know each other. And when I get the confirmation from the leasing company that I got the apartment and I'm approved, I said I need the confirmation before I tell her I'm moving over there. And I call her. I think I called her or text her, but I remember reaching out to her and I'm like, guess what? And actually it was through text. And she's like, what? I'm like, I'm moving to California. She's like, oh my God, really? What part? And I tell her, I'm like, San Diego. She's like, I live in San Diego. We're in San Diego. And I'm like, El Cajon. She's like, I live in El Cajon. We're in El Cajon. I'm like,
Shit.
Park's apartment. She's like, I live in Forest Park's apartment. Crazy. She
Wow.
was literally doors down from where I was staying. And Lord knows how he curates a moment and how he designs everything because I don't know what I would have done without her not being there. Because I
Yeah.
went through it. I went through it and I didn't know if I was gonna survive. But I thank her so much because I never got to get a job to stay out there. Obviously, like I told you, the plan failed. But while I was trying to land the job, she was lending me her car. Our car had gotten well, my ex's car had gotten repoed. Like we were just like going through it.
Right.
And she came through clutch. And I would just cook for her, as an exchange of service, like
Yeah,
a
I'll go.
gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do something because I'm like, I can't pay you, but
Right.
I have to find a different way to be able to pay you back and thank you. And so this day, like, I love her. Shout out to my beautiful friend Lauren. She comes to New York. She brings her daughter. I host her and all this stuff. And it bonded our friendship more than I could ever imagine.
Yeah. You know what's awesome too about what you're saying is
Sorry.
it's all good. Is that you can clearly see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, right? And the tunnels may be long, they may be short, shit happens, but look at you now and look at that you that's a testimony that you can talk about and I know it'll inspire people just hearing about that. It's interesting. So you were there, did you say 4 months in California total or were
I
you
left
there?
Mid July, ended up back in October.
Okay. And then the process when you ended up back in New York is when you started like rebranding yourself and working the everything ABAR thing into
Yes.
existence, right? All right.
Yes.
So where do we go from there? This is 2017?
This is 2017.
Ooh, okay, okay.
2017. Yeah. So it's 2017. It's so funny because I get back from I was in a very depressive stage of my life. Like, that
Mhm.
was very depressing. I was also not in the best relationship and I ended up back at my mom's house. Thankfully, I had subleased my apartment to my cousin, so I didn't lose my apartment here in New
Okay.
York. Because you always gotta find a way to like, as much as you're gonna make a move, find some type of security to fall back on. So
Yeah.
I had that. At least I had that secure. I'm like, I didn't lose my apartment, and that's such an essential part of my story because my apartment itself is not just my apartment; it's also the office. It's also a studio. It's also where we host weddings. Like it tells a lot of stories, and it helped through my transition. It also was an Airbnb, and that's a whole nother story.
You're a
And
hustler, you're a hustler. You see.
that doesn't happen till 2019 though. So it's 2017 October. I get back. I'm really depressed. It's also my birthday. And I turned 27 at the time. I'm in my mom's house. And then my sister had bought us a flight to our birthday trip to Cuba. And I didn't want to go because I felt I was undeserving of it. But I still
Right.
went on the trip. And it was a beautiful experience. I want to go back to change my memory because I remember the energy I brought to there. I didn't really get to enjoy Cuba the way I wanted to. But when I think back to like what I experienced, it's like damn you, I wish I would have been more grateful and in the moment,
Yeah.
instead of being like thinking about like all my problems. But obviously, that's how life works. So I finally land the job because it was like I was also for the first time in my life I couldn't land the job. I couldn't land the job. I even like became certified a court interpreter and I couldn't land the job. November, I finally got a job and I end up working with a Mexican contemporary furniture company who designs very high scale furniture. I'm talking about $30,000 couches. And I
Wow.
get to experience how this furniture is actually designed and the process of going through logistics, importing, exporting, learning about different textures of wood, mahogany. It was just so in depth. And I was so confused at the time when I landed this position because the owners are French, the designer's Mexican, but the brand is also Mexican contemporary. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, what? Confused. But small business with a high value market. And that taught me something. But the job was in Dobbs Ferry, New York. And it took me, let me tell you, I had to take the train to get to Fordham, to take the bus, to get to the other side, to get the Metro North and take the Metro North up to Dobbs Ferry, then come out, walk through the parking lot, walk through a little soccer park, go through a fence, go through some bushes, cross over a little old broken bridge, and then I get to the building. So and this is all happening right next to the water, and I'm getting out like sometimes at 6 at night, and it's pitch dark.
Creepy.
Yeah, very creepy. Like I remember posting videos on Snapchat. I'm like, you guys don't believe me, but and I still have those videos. But it was scary, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Like this is just a lot. At this point, I already moved back to my apartment, and I end up like leaving the job. And I remember changing on the train on the Metro North to put on my interview clothes, and I end up going all the way to Brooklyn for an interview that I landed. Like I remember landing it right on the spot. And I leave that job to end up working as a personal assistant to a Hasidic Jew who is the vice president of a real estate commercial company and completely different setting. But I am his personal assistant. And
Okay.
becomes I'm the personal assistant to a millionaire, and I'm just like, how do I land this job? But now I say Hasidic to mention that it's so important because now everything I do also affects my job. I can't wear shirts showing my shoulder. I can't show my elbows. I can't show above my knees. I can't be too revealing. The one thing I do remember from that interview is that when he came into the room, I put out my hand to shake it and I forgot that that's not part of their customs. Male and females don't
Mm.
touch. So I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like it was funny, but it's things. It's a lot of customs that I learned from Hasidic Jews, learning the woman and also, again, like, I mentioned this a lot, but I'm repeating it because it's so important. I'm his personal assistant. Like I'm getting exposed to his personal lives. How does this millionaire actually live? So
Right.
one of my important tasks as my job as his personal assistant was his calendar, which affects my entire life now because everybody always asks me like, Linda, how do you do everything that you do? And I'm just like, I literally live by my and when I got that job, I knew that I wasn't in that position for no reason. I'm also going through this journey of trying to come out this toxic relationship I'm in, through a journey with God. And then it's like, I'm also like reading my Bible that was the year I made the dedication. No, I'm lying. The next year was, but I'm here. It's now 2018. I'm trying to like read and learn the Bible. So it's like I'm reading the Bible in the Old Testament, and I'm also living with people that are descendants of people from that time. So it's just
Right.
like comparing the old with the new in the present. And it's crazy. And that man, my job, the most important thing again was the calendar. Like his prayer time was on the calendar. The time the driver had to pick him up had to be on the calendar. Wherever his meeting was had to be on the calendar. Date night with his wives, any event, like everything was on that man's calendar. And it was so important to him. And like I couldn't add somebody to a meeting without asking him. But he would call me every day. He's like, was on my calendar. And it's weird. There was one time I will never forget. It was the day after my birthday. I get into the office. I used to work like at 7:30 in the morning. So I'll be like one of the first persons in the office and I'll come in. I remember he called me. It's like 7:30 in the morning. He's like, you want to go to Boston? And I'm like, Boston? He's like, yeah, I love Boston. I'm in Boston. I usually go take these medical exams to a doctor in Boston and they'll just book your flight to go and your flight to come back. Booked my flight. He's like, call yourself an Uber. Took an Uber to LaGuardia, got on a plane, went to Boston, got out, called the Uber, went to a building, met the doctor, gave him the envelope with the results, got in an Uber, went back to the airport, came back to New York all in the same day.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's
Like, I
pretty
have so
dope.
many stories with that man, but the most important thing that I was there for is that calendar because I can't live without my calendar. I
Yeah,
can't.
that's what's important about you, like the journey that you're letting us in on is even going back to the dealing with that high end furniture place, right? Like that's also impactful for the day that you do put your clothing line together, your fashion design, because you learned, even though it's a different category within design, you just were exposed to a lot of different things and high end and having conversations. And like that's a lot of times for me is it's, and I know it gets corny for some people, is like when I talk about being given an opportunity, it's just like, let me just get my feet in the room and then I'll work the room.
100
So like for
100
you, you've been a lot in these rooms where you're like peeping game and you're soaking up all these different things and you're smart because you're taking what you need, like the experiences that actually make a difference for you now or in the future. So even with the Hasidic Jew that you're talking about is like taking that calendar thing, talking about us today is like that's what you were telling me, like what day? And like you were
Yes.
adamant about it, like what day and time. And I'm like, whenever you're available, I'm available. Like,
See, that's the thing, like, I'll be available, but then I won't. My own sister, my
yeah,
family, they know. Even if it's a family event, "Yo, what are you doing this day?" I block it out. We're having a barbecue, or we're doing this. Like,
yeah,
my family knows to plan around my calendar. Like if they want something, they want me to be present or something, they know to call me and tell me to put it on the calendar right now. Because again, my calendar is also open on the business website. So it'll get filled quick. Like people
yeah.
book, I tell people, I'm like, book an appointment, even if it's just to talk to me, because it's crazy how demanding my life has become. Like I don't complain about it because I signed up for this, but literally I deal with people's problems. So everybody wants to talk to me. My own and staff like has to like block out time, like, hey, I need to ask you something, like when you have time. And I just be like, don't ask me, like you're working, like interrupt me. You had to
Yeah.
interrupt me. And it's interesting because, I'm starting to reflect a lot. When you're a kid that you think about what you're gonna like, what your life is gonna be in the future. You kind of like build this image in your head. I always envision myself being a woman with many businesses,
Mm,
and to be living in that dream now is fulfilling, and it's beautiful because I let God write most of the story. There's a lot of
right.
times we like to take control and we like to write the script, but I've learned to like stop writing the script when it's not supposed to be in my control. Sometimes we try to take control and we just make a bigger mess.
Like the Jay-Z thing, when I saw my on that interview with Kevin Hart where he talks about like you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, and that's similar to what you're saying, where you try to take control, or even when you think you're in control and things are not going the way you want them to go, and it's almost like for me at least, like I feel like God sometimes breaks me down and is like, yo, I'm in control. Like you need to
Hmm.
talk to me about what you're trying to do, and vamos a ver if that's in
Hmm.
your story. So I'm big on faith. I'm big on God. Like we pray as a family every single day before we eat dinner. It's
I love
unorthodox in
it.
the sense like we'll be serving soda and we'll be praying together, but it's our thing.
I love
You
it.
know,
I love
we're
it.
eh,
My staff is so used to it that they'll be like, sometimes I even whenever we're having lunch, I'm like, I pray over them real quick. Like, Lord bless this meal that we're
yeah,
about to eat. May nourish our body, want to do good in Jesus' name, amen. Real quick.
yeah,
Cause it's a blessing. And you gotta be appreciative of the small blessings.
right.
And food is a big part of them. That gives you the energy and the nourishment you need to do whatever you're gonna do throughout the day.
That's the way to bribe me. Like my wife knows whenever I think we had this conversation briefly, but she loves DIYs, right? And she'll get busy,
Mm,
right? She'll do stuff too, but usually the
you're gonna
plan
be my
involves
friend.
me. Usually the plan involves me somehow, some way I get talked into it. And she's like, all right, I'm ordering the steak that you like. I'm gonna make you. So she'll hook everything up, just like this too. Like she knows I like my little energy drinks.
I
Right
love
now
it.
we're painting now, but she'll set it up. But yeah, like that's the way to my heart, food. Like whenever like family tells her like, hey, do you think Anthony could do this, that, there? They're like, just make sure there's food. That's my first thing. Like if I'm going somewhere, like let's say I'm in New York, we're gonna get together. I'm like, yo, is there food? Do I need to bring something? Like, talk to me.
That's
All
fine.
right,
That's
once,
what my main question at my mom's house. I'm like, "You cook?
yeah,
Okay, I'm going over there later."
don't have me go over there. And there's no food because at least like if
No, my
there's no
parents
food,
don't. They call me. They're like, "No, porque what is it? because every time I get there, I'm always hungry. But so they always know. So
I
yeah,
love that's why I learned the Dominican culture. I'm so in love. That's why I'm married to a Dominican woman because like that's what it's about. Like I have best friends that lived upstairs from my building. And whenever I
uh-huh.
would go over there, "Ah, tú tienes hambre?" I'm like, yeah, always.
Ajá.
Always. Oh, I mean,
Eso
when
se
they gave me
pregunta.
mango for the first time out there, I thought that she was asking me if I wanted mango.
That's
I
funny. That's the
know, I
first
know,
one.
I
That's the
know.
first one.
But she gave it to me. I didn't like it. Now talk to me about mango. My wife hooks it up, and
You
but
have a
yes,
designated mango day.
yes. We do that. We do that. We do. I recently did a vlog where we're hooking up mango for breakfast one day. But so going back to your story, right? So you
Mhm.
start up a business. You did the rebranding. So when did the business go full time for you? Because I know you had kind of bounced around. You worked for the Hasidic Jew that you were talking about. Like when did it come to a full circle where you were like, all right, I need to take this
9 years ago today, April 3rd, when I got
today.
fired. Nine
Let's
years ago
go.
today. Yes.
I wish I had that button, the clap button, so we could. I'm at it afterwards. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was scary because, I try to go independent. So, yeah, 9 years ago today was the day that I got fired. And I got fired over politics. It was really dumb. They said that I was not completing sufficient work or doing my work properly. Mind you, I'm here out there. Before I got called into the conference room, I was out there training two new girls. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm not doing my work, and you guys are the ones that give me and assign everything. But I knew why I was. So
And
just to
this
give
is
you a little
for the
backstory.
personal assistant, something else.
No. That's why I said, let me give you a little
Okay.
backstory. So he's Hasidic, right? They're very limited to how they can use technology. I'm very tech savvy. We were bumping heads to the point that he knew something was going on at home. And mind you, I was in a toxic relationship, verbally abusive relationship. So, but he didn't know details. He just knew something was going on. By the grace of God, 3 weeks before, one of my coworkers, who was actually so the branch of that company, his sister was the vice president of the other side of the firm. I'm sorry, not the firm, of the real estate company. And she had her personal assistant. So her personal assistant, whenever we needed to chat, we would talk when it had to do coordinating anything with the family.
Right.
And she had to get knee surgery. So I went to visit her in the hospital. And when I visit her, she dumps on me the news and she says, "Hey, listen, on this date, which is like 3 weeks ahead, the new girl that's gonna replace you is starting. I'm just letting you know."
Wow.
Right? And I had sick days, I had everything. So what was my plan? It's crazy. I mean, I could disclose this now because I think the statute of limitations expired on
Oh,
the
it's a wrap.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I end up decide I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna do this because now I'm in the week. So she's starting on a Monday and it's Wednesday the week before. And I still don't like I haven't seen any signs or anything. I'm still like everything's still normal at work. My boss had another assistant. I was his personal than the other assistant. So long story short, at that time, I think he was in New Orleans at a conference or something, and I got sick Thursday. So sick. I got sick. I
Wait,
had a
for real,
fever.
for real? For real sick or
I had a fever. Right? I couldn't come into work. I had the flu, I'm sorry, that's what I had. I had the flu.
okay.
It hit me so bad. It hit me harder on Friday, so I couldn't even come in on Friday, even though I was off on Friday. The whole weekend, I was dying. Monday came, I still couldn't go to work because I was sick.
Yeah,
I
you
had
gotta
the
take
flu,
care of yourself.
right? But my colleague, who's the other assistant, kept on insisting to meet up with me. So she's talking about, "Oh, I need to see you." And she's like, "Let's catch a drink." And I'm like, "Dude, I called out of work because I don't feel good. Like, why
Right.
would I go have a drink?" "Oh, well then let's go eat." And I'm like, I don't want to eat. I'm sick. I just want to stay in bed. I have a flu."
Mhm.
And then continues insisting. Mind this is going on from like 12 noon to and it's like 6 p.m. She's still insisting. 8 p.m. "Hey, can you come outside? I'm home.
So she just popped up.
Can you come down the block? I just need to talk to you real quick." I come outside. Mind you, my ex was like I had already came home and I didn't want to tell him. But I go outside, I'm like, "Oh, my coworker's outside." I go outside, I go into her car. The IT guy is in the back of the car with her. And she's like, "I don't know how to tell you this." Long story short, they fired me. But she tells me
Wow.
Yes.
Um,
Like I was like, this is so illegal. But Linda's not dumb. Linda put her phone to record the whole thing. So
oh,
before I got into that card, I was recording the whole conversation. She tells me that he's letting me go, but he got me a job at his attorney's law firm because he knows that I'm a notary and a paralegal, and he didn't want to leave me with anything at the same salary.
right,
The only reason why the IT guy was there because like I was his personal assistant, he had to delete his email. But they used to do is wipe out a person's entire phone. But all my business stuff is on there. So he just
right.
came to delete the email itself. So I won't get his emails anymore. And I end up working for this law firm until April 3rd when they decide to fire me. And I was only there for like almost 6 months. I was so scared because in that relationship that I was in, my ex, I was basically taking care of everything. And my ex had left me in debt. Like we were owing like almost $10,000 in rent at the time. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do. I end up breaking up with him. I'm going through a breakup. So at this point, April 3rd, he has like 2 months he had moved out. I'm here like trying to figure things out. I have a order in the court and housing with my landlord, an agreement. And I'm like, how am I gonna maybe pay my rent? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna get evicted. And I decided that I was going to fast for 3 days and not speak so that God could give me a word. And in those 3 days, I did not speak, but I did write a book by the end of the 3 days.
Shit.
And the book is called Fasting in Silence. It ended up being my third book. That's how that book came about. And the book is literally about how to fast in silence for 3 days. And after I finished the fast, God put it like you know where you look, ding, Airbnb, ding. So I go and sign up for Airbnb, and this place starts getting booked. Because remember, I told you I do interior design. My dad's also a super. So my dad's a super. My mom does housekeeping. And from my dad, I learned electrical. I learned how to plaster and paint, all that stuff. So I've remodeled my apartment alone myself with a few help here and there with certain things.
Yeah.
And it has a beautiful aesthetic. So with
I
my
remember
mom's
when
housekeeping skills,
when
oh,
we
the wall,
spoke.
the living room, I still
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
even
yeah.
posted it. So with
We
my mom, I have all the housekeeping skills. My mom has taught us how to keep a bathroom sparkly clean and how to make a bed. And, I was like through the roof with Airbnb until January 2020. I get hit with a lawsuit from my landlord, cease and desist. That was a whole nother story, and I feel like we're gonna
Ooh.
need another episode for that. But it was April 3rd when I got fired, and I saw that as it was my third opportunity in life to go and take everything A-bar and just run with it. And I launched my internship program in 2019, had my first intern. By 2020, I had 5 interns or 6 interns at that point. I'm still running my business. I end up hiring. Now I have staff. I have a team. We have systems. It is beautiful to see how much I prepared for because in 2019, a lot of things happened to me, and I called it my year of silence. Not only because of the fasting in silence, but I remember entering literally that new year in silence and watching a movie on Andrea Bocelli, who's a Spanish opera singer. And it's I don't know if you know this. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's blind.
Yeah.
And he's
He shows
blind
up to
and
some concerts riding a horse and he's blind.
yeah, so it's like the movie is called something in silence. I forgot what it was. But it was so many contexts with silence in that year. And the one goal I had for 2019 for myself was how do I go remote? And I set myself up to literally have a system that I can attend people from anywhere in the world because, as I'm Airbnb, I'm also traveling a lot because I can't stay in my spot. Like I'll stay here. I was supposed to be staying here, but that case is closed. So we're not, I could say that now. But
Allegedly. Just
yeah,
hit
yeah,
him with the
allegedly.
allegedly.
I mean, I did with a few people, but my thing is that I couldn't stay with them because I had plans, and it's just like whatever. I still had access, and I loved hosting as Airbnb. Like it was one of the greatest things, and it saddened me so much that I couldn't do it anymore. But God knows why He stopped it. Like that was just temporary. Me preparing myself to go remote and doing all that prepared me for the pandemic without even knowing. Because little did I
Mhm.
know that in 2020 everybody was going to be stuck home. So it's like, how do I make money if I can't go out? Like, how do I look for clients? How do I attend clients?
Right.
People are so used to having a brick and mortar. And I was like, I don't want to do that to myself. Also, while I was working at the agency, when I was 19, I experienced my first nervous breakdown because of tax season. And I also told myself, I'm like, I got to work by appointments. I can't work by like, oh, walk ins. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to myself, especially knowing that I'm juggling a lot. I'm going to drive myself crazy. And if
Right.
I drive myself crazy, I can't do what I do. So that's why my other thing is take care of your health. I need my sanity. I need clearance in my mind. I need peace. I need quiet at least like for 1, 2 hours in the day. Cause I'll literally spend a whole day and you could check my phone book. I'll talk to like 40, 50 people in one day. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy. That's
That's a
crazy. Like, you know how much energy that is to talk to 40, 50 people in one day? By the end of the day, I'm just like, yo, I don't even want to look at the TV. I don't even want the TV to talk to me. Like, I sit in silence and it's weird. My employees come to the office sometimes and I'm just here in silence. They're like, dude, they just adapt to it. But it's so awkward. But it's like sometimes I don't want to hear shit. I can't.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like resetting. You almost wanna hear your own thoughts, just be in
I don't
silence.
even wanna hear my own thoughts.
Damn.
My boy these thoughts they don't shut up. I always have an idea, and it's like, "Shut up.
You talking
Shut
about the
up."
talking about ideas, like, it's inspiring to hear all the things that you've done and the things that you're doing. Because just like maybe a half hour, an hour before I jump on this pod, somebody shoots me a text. Right now, I'm unemployed, and I used to be a manager at a sales company, and I used to have, like, 9 people under me. So one of the guys texts me, he's like, "Oh, look what I'm doing as a side gig." He's renting out bounce houses, which down here is
Oh.
is it's a big thing because it's year-round. And I showed my wife, and she's like, You've been wanting to do that for a while." So here I go. I start looking at bounce. I'm like, How many can I buy?" So I'm the same way in that sense. That's why sometimes the other day I was like, I think like 1 in the morning, and I'm like, I'm gonna start a landscaping company because it's all
Mm-mm.
about. I'm a little much sometimes, but it's all
No,
about
it can't be more than me.
so good that we understand each other. Because I'm sitting there, I'm
100%.
like, how could I continue just working for myself? Like finding out, because I also have a window cleaning and pressure washing business with my brother-in-law. So we do that on the
Mhm.
side. So I'm trying, like, I've always had that entrepreneur spirit. Ultimately, like podcasting
It's
is
a New
what
Yorker in you.
yeah, right. And down here, that's the one thing I'll say. Like, and I don't wanna offend people, but they don't it's not the same. Like, we come with that, like, "Oh, yeah, let's get to it." Here, it's much more like, "Let's calm down.
It's
Let's
more
talk
calm and
about
more
this."
relaxed.
And I'm like, "My brother, just give me what I want so I could get going." And people notice that about me because 'cause I'll be, like, somewhere, and I'm like, "Come on, get to
You're
it."
persistent.
Yeah, I'm like, I wanna go already." And everybody says it's your ADHD. I'm like, "No, no, no. It's just like
That's
we need to
hilarious.
speed it up." But I love the story, like, that you're sharing with us because it gives me a breath of fresh air to know, like, it's okay to have different ideas. The thing about you is that you have all these ideas, but you're also executing on them, and that's what's the key to it. Go ahead.
Structure. Because you said
Structure.
executing, and I'm just like, it's taken a long time for a lot of these ideas to launch off and become something, honestly. For the first time this year and in 9 years, I'm gonna finally market my book. I'm gonna have a book reading event. And my first book, because my first book is actually a picture story book for adult stoners. So it's
Okay.
not so much of a
What's the
book
name of
book,
it?
but it's called Free Smoke Dreaming. It's available on Amazon. I also have a novel that's called I Fell for New York's Finest. And other book that I mentioned is my God, I almost said Free Smoke Dreaming, Fasting in Silence.
Passing in
And
silence.
my fourth book is a addition to my first book. My first book is a series called THC, The High Chronicles. So
Yeah.
it's a story that's what the whole picture story comes about. So the fourth book is the second addition to that series and it's called The Word
Okay.
and it tells the story. It's actually an interactive book. So are you familiar with are you a J. Cole fan? First, that's the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, are you a Six Black fan?
Six Black. A couple I can't tell you what songs I know,
Are
but
you
I
familiar with their song Pretty Little Fears?
no, Pretty Little
Nah, I
Fears.
just wanna know. Don't you sugarcoat. I say it loud if
I
you
gotta I
want. No?
Imma
Okay,
have to
listen
listen
to the
to
song.
it.
Well, the book itself it has a audiobook to it, and the audiobook is the instrumental of that song. And that book came about because I actually wrote that book in 420. Actually, I'm lying. The book's anniversary is also 4/19/2020, which
Okay,
is 17, 18, 19, 20. So 4 years later, I wrote the second edition to my first book.
okay.
And, I have that song tells a story. They're telling the story about a girl that and how they see her and her beauty, and I use J. Cole's part in to tell the story because the lyrics. When I was listening to the song, I was mourning my two uncles who I lost during the pandemic, and it was just I was smoking a blunt. And I'm looking at the blunt and listening. The song's playing in the background, and J. Cole's verse comes on. And I'm looking at the blunt, and the words relate exactly to how I feel about weed and how I
Mhm.
look at it. And it's so crazy. So then it's just like he says, I'm loving your light, vulnerable. And it just keeps going. And I'm just like looking at the blunt, and I'm like, wow, like, yo, everything he is saying. And then he's like, you grow some trees from roots, the branch, the leaves, it grows the trees. And I'm just like, yo, he's talking about a girl, but he's also talking about weed if you think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I literally had my first journal in my hand, and it's a all black journal, and I had chalk markers. So I start painting and drawing, and I literally sketch out the book and then did the graphics for it to fill in everything else. But it's literally word for word of the lyrics of what he's saying, but in reference to weed.
Right.
And I was just so grateful in that moment because it's pandemic. I couldn't my mom lost her brother, 2 of her brothers. I can't hug anybody. I live alone, so it was like I'm by myself. Nobody's here to like comfort me while I'm going through this morning. I can't even hold my cousin. Like I only had weed and and it's just like thank God I had weed at least because
Right.
God knows what I would have like done by myself. Like I probably would have abused alcohol instead and done
Yeah.
other damages to myself just because I didn't have anybody around me, but I was so grateful to have weed, and that book is literally telling the story of the appreciation and love I have for weed, and I called it the word because it was a moment between me and God, and to me, that was His word in the moment. And it's like the
Mm.
pretty little fears of it not being of getting caught because it's still illegal at the time, of the pretty little fears of coronavirus, the pretty little fears of not knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow, the pretty little fears of not having a person that you grew up having in your entire life. Like it's so deep in meaning that you can't just buy the book and be like, okay, like you're never gonna get it unless I explain it to you. Which is
Right.
why I have never marketed it because I'm like, I need to like really sit down and explain this, and maybe we could use this video to market
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 100%.
But that's those are my 4 books, and I haven't I've been working on Change Your Setting as a book because originally when I got the message in 2017, I thought it was gonna be a book, but it turned out to be something so mm, much bigger than me. It's a motto, it's a lifestyle. It became a health and wellness community that in the summer now, on the last weekend of June, we host what we call the Summer Games, and it's an event that everybody looks forward to every year now. We have adults playing childhood games like freeze tag and red light, green
Okay.
light and dodge water ball. Like it's fun, but I also bring vendors to come showcase their business and market themselves. And I curated the summer games event to give people, especially us humans and adults as we get older, a different perspective of how we should look at health and wellness and taking care of our health. So it's kind of like also a challenge that every year, like, you're gonna have setbacks. They can be natural and unnatural in the sense of like you could break your leg and you could have been like a gym rat, but now you lost all your muscle mass because you have to go through surgery and you have to
Right.
recover all your strength and learn how to walk again. Like things can happen. It doesn't have to be natural. It could be that you're lazy. And a lot of people are just lazy, which is why I ask every morning, are you lazy or did you take care of your health? And it's become a thing because I said I need to find a way where we can market health and wellness in a fun way so people don't see it as a boring task. So people don't see it as like, oh, I gotta take care of I gotta go to the gym. No, like see it as something fun. Jump rope if you have to. And the whole thing started with like me just running a mile. And I was like, oh, it's kind of like I'm racing somebody, but it's me against me. All I gotta make sure is that I'm at least 1 second faster than I was yesterday. And that's
Right.
achievable. And it started with those little things that I implemented. The first year I hosted the summer games, I had 5 people there. 5 people. This is gonna be our 7th year hosting it. And it's so beautiful to see the evolution of it because we're like now receiving 100 people come over. We have seating
It's
areas. Like it's gone so big that people are like, yo, I can't wait for the summer games. And I'm just like, yo, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see how an idea that was in your head can become something so impactful to not just your friends and your family, but the community.
yeah, you said a movement. You
Yeah.
created a movement, and it's the beautiful thing is how many people walk away from that with now a newfound a habit that they created from that or something that they learned. It's a beautiful thing. It's awesome.
Mhm.
One of the things I'll say too, like for me and like manifesting is something that I have in the back of my head. The same thing where when we talk about people like J. Cole, when they think about the first time that they were in a concert and they only had like 2 or 3 people, and now you see how they've blown up. For me, something that I would like to see come to fruition is doing a live episode in like a theater, like something dope where like
Mhm,
I could
mhm.
bring people, and the same thing where I can, I where I used to work, there were like 2 comedians there, and I'm like, hey, I have this idea where I want to host like a live session, but I would like to make it more fun, where I could have an opener and then have another one close it out, and it's things like you're talking about, because a lot of the things that you've talked about, obviously you thought about first and then you made it a reality, and I think that there's beauty in doing that. And the same thing you're saying, as far as like, I know I said execution, and then what was the word that you used?
Structure,
Structure. And that was my
structure.
thing at work. I'm like, I'm all about having structure and this, that, because I know how messy my brain is, and I am, that like the only way that I could function is through structure, having something on the books, which is awesome. Now, you have 4 books. Where can people find them? Do you have them out where people can
They're
buy
all on
them?
Amazon. I'm self-published, so they're
That's
all on Amazon. If you type in my name, Linda Aybar, they'll all come up.
that's dope. So I'm gonna plug that in here too, so people can see it, and I'll support too. I'm big on supporting.
Thank you.
And then from there, so you created your business, you've been self-employed. How do you stay now, stepping away from like the journey? How do you stay focused? I know you said the calendars is huge for you, but how do you stay focused on and juggle all these different things throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month? Like, I see you doing a lot, Linda. Like, if you guys don't follow her, you will see it. She's dedicated in the gym. So I see that. And then it always makes me feel like she's in the gym. I should be in the gym too. Let's say you
Good.
give off that pressure, right?
Even if it's just a walk, just go.
Yeah, and my wife keeps telling me like we should go for a walk around the community. But how do you juggle all these things? How do you stay focused?
Okay, this is sounds is very boring, but literally just having routine. Cause I
Okay.
have a schedule for my. So when I got fired, that's some. I already had a schedule. I've always been a person of routine and discipline. My dad, he raised us very militant. Like he comes from Trujillo time, so it's like, and also like he big on karate, passed that down to us. So it's like discipline is. It was always there. It was always there.
Okay.
And when I got fired, I told myself, Linda, don't stop doing what you're doing on a daily basis already, so that you don't get lazy. So I still kept on wait. Only thing is I tweaked time. And I think I have it somewhere there, but I have put my schedule like on a paper for myself to see. And I'm like, all right, there's gonna be a reading time. I was really dedicated in 2019. I read like 24 books, and 2020 I
Mhm.
had the goal like higher. It was a thing for me, and I've slacked on my reading, but I'm trying to get back on it. And it was literally like, all right, don't stop going to the gym. Don't start doing like just fill in the gap. You're not at work, but do something. Like work on a design or work on editing this or work on editing that or work on doing some research. And at this time you're gonna cook. And at this time you're gonna do that. Like let's try a new recipe today. Every time I change my setting, I will go into a different setting and do something different. So, all right, now it's time to
Right.
go into the kitchen. I have the A-bar kitchen. So I'm like, let me try a new plate today. Let me try something different. I was also vegan at the time. So I'm trying to recreate dishes that taste like me. And I was challenging myself in different areas. So it's like, and I had a bedtime. I still give myself a bedtime. Like sleep is so important. But my main thing is like I need to be healthy in order to do what I do. 'Cause even this morning at the gym, one of the girls is like, I still don't know how you do everything you do. Like you're here, you're there, and then you come in the morning to the gym. And I'm like, trust me, I didn't want to be here today. I did
Yeah.
not want to be here. But I go with it's just me still keeping that discipline because it's easy to fall off, but it's easier to just go back into a habit. And it takes
Right.
21 days to build a habit and
Yep.
21 days in the same way to forget a habit. And we are human, and we as humans, something that my dad's always embedded is that we're animals. We're animals. We're in the animal tree. We are what Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
And as an animal, what is the difference between us and other animals? We have a conscious. We can also communicate through words and we can adapt. A dog can't do that. A horse can't do that. A gorilla can't do that. But a human can. So if
Right.
we are of conscious, and also something that I dived into was CB, cognitive behavior. I started studying. I'm like, we're also species of habit.
Right.
How is it that as a human you can't tell yourself no? That's mind-boggling to me. That shit is mind-boggling to me. You can't tell yourself no, don't have sugar. No, don't have soda. No, don't do stop doing this for X amount of time. But it was so easy for us to listen to our parents, but you can't listen to yourself and you can't give yourself discipline. I think
Mm,
that's a disservice to your own self. So it I remind myself also, and I have it on my calendar. I read a book on Stoicism, and there's a portion that I took out of it, a saying that Stoics used to say, and it's "Memento mori." Remember that you are mortal. And I have that on my calendar on Saturdays to pop out every day and remind me, you're mortal. You're gonna die one day.
right.
But also, it's like how long? There's another book that I read that is called Fudge. What is it? 8,000 weeks. 4,000 weeks. 4,000 weeks. That's the average lifetime of a human. If you put it in that perspective, you think you only have 4,000 weeks to live. And that's up to like if you live up to 80 years old. So, what do you do with these 4,000 weeks of your life?
Right.
And a lot of them, you use in your youth. So let's just cut it down by 2,000 weeks. There's 52 weeks in a year. So if you think about it like that, it's just like it changes your perspective of how you see time and how you see yourself and your purpose and your life and what you're doing. And I like to tell people something that my father told me since I was little: be whatever the fuck you want to be. If you want
Mm,
to be everything, then fucking be it. Because at the end of the day, only you can write your own story and only you can change it. If you don't like
yeah.
something the way it is, you have the will and power to change it unless there's a gun to your head. But whatever you can control what's whatever within your control.
Yeah, yeah. I
And if you
love that.
can, then make those changes and change your settings.
Yeah, I just and to add to that, like I don't see why you can't do the things, and I get it. It's a lot of hard work. Like your testimonial alone for what I'm saying, but I think if you have the execution, you have the structure, you have the discipline. Why can't you do all the things that you want or figure out? Like when like there's a thing that I always tell my wife. Like we had a conversation in front of friends, and we were talking about a Louis Vuitton bag. Right. And
Mhm.
like the husband that we were talking to, the couple was like, I'm not buying you. And I'm like, for me and my wife is like whatever she wants, and I'm gonna get it for her. So it's not a matter of not getting it, it's a matter of when, right? Like I'm always that's and I'm trying to put the words together the way I said
But
it, but
there's a will, there's the way. And that's what I also like to
exactly.
say.
So if I can't do things right this second, it's just a matter of time of until I get to it. And that's the way I treat even podcasting, where it's like I'm very passionate about this because I really enjoy it. Like I had hip hop that I was pursuing at one point, and though I love hip hop, it wasn't me. Like I used to love writing, but I fell out of love with it because of like it made me. It wasn't fun for me anymore because I was stressed about like saying the right
Mm.
thing, and you know what I mean. I still listen to rappers
There's
now.
so
I'm
much
like,
pressure on you.
yeah, like I'm like you're kind of out of pocket in this verse. So for me, with this is like I do it because I love it, and I'm pushing myself, and I'm focused. And just last night, my wife was like, I'm really proud of you." She saw me in the computer, and I was working on something for the pod. And I think for you yourself too. I don't know if you sometimes stop and like just like smell the roses and smell like in really
I
like
like to
assess.
do that when I host a big event and I just stand in the middle of the room and I just look around and I just take in the moment. I definitely
Yeah.
do.
It's such a beautiful thing, and that's why I think in stopping and smelling the roses, it's an important thing to do. Like, you've accomplished a lot, and I'm pretty sure you still have a lot of things that you wanna get done, but
Hmm.
ultimately, with all the things that you do, you kinda gave us your secret sauce. It's a lot of structure, discipline, and you mentioned karate, so you could probably bust some ass too, right?
No, but I'm from the Bronx, so I could probably drag you.
You're like, I'm kinda crazy, I'm from the Bronx." Um Full circle moment. So you are self-employed. What led you to the and I know you said Papacitos was kind of you started in the restaurant life and stuff like that. What ultimately led you to where you're at today in life? Like, you
97.
are yes, like you are a host and like you're in the scene too as far as like you're hosting different things too. So it's not like it's just Hot 97. I see you involved in different things aside from your business. How did that come about for you?
So in 2022, I had tweeted in March, I want to do a podcast like show of the segment Ask Ashley from the show All That. And the tweet got to somebody, and that person ends up DMing me. And they said, if you're serious about this, I would love to produce this. Shout out to Miguel Ortiz, who's one of the owners at the Telly channel. He became my producer, and we put out 3 seasons. And that was
Oh,
kind of me trying to find my way back to the mic because again, I'm a retired DJ, and during my DJ hours, I was one of the like before I retired, one of the last parties, and this is how I used to hustle my DJ stuff. I choreographed the Sweet 16. I was the MC, the event planner, and the DJ. And then once I finished the party, I left to go promote at a club. But I
you're no
was big on
joke.
I was
You
a
are no joke. And you.
but I was a private DJ and I liked it that way because I did try the club scene and it was not for me. Like I couldn't I'm big on energy and I remember being at Luna and my boy allowed me to DJ and I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Like there's people in here because they just want to get drunk. There's people that they're trying to meet somebody got promoted, somebody lost their job, somebody celebrating the birthday, somebody celebrating anniversary. There's so much energy here. I can't control this
Right,
crowd. Like it's a different type of control. However, if I DJ a baby shower, I DJ a sweet 16, I DJ a birthday, everybody's there for that one reason. And it's easier to manage a party in the dance floor like that. And I became a DJ because I like to control the dance floor. That's my
right.
thing. So I say that all to say because my DJ career is really impactful on where I am today. Throughout my career, I became part of La Maximo Productions. And
I used to get a lot
that's
of
a
music from there back
Yes,
in the
yes,
day.
yes, and I had my first radio show with LMP on LMP Radio. I had multiple shows. My last show with them was with my good friend DJ Jinx Paul, rest in peace. And me and him, he would DJ. It was called Powerhouse Wednesdays, and I would interview the guests that we would have if we had a guest. But I was also the host on the show, and a lot of my experience came from there, being in the Latin music industry learning and getting to know people from that era. I'm talking about like 2012.
Yeah,
I ended up retiring 2015 from the DJ life. And I took, a step back and I focused on the business. Fast forward to 2022, we released Ask A Bar. We do season 1, season 2, season 3 drops. I'm fasting. And during my fast, I go to one of my friends' Hispanic heritage events that she hosts at Berkeley College. And while I was there, I ran into another friend who was accompanied by a friend who now is my friend. His name is JR. And I knew him from social media at the time, but this is our first time meeting in person. And it's crazy enough, we have the same birthday. We have so many similarities and we clicked like right away. And, just being in that space created the opportunity. Mind you, I'm not like, there's a lot of people that look for their opportunities. And I'm thankful to God that I've been patient enough to just wait for his timing. And I've learned that because I've tried to rush with things, even with change or setting. And in that same time and space, he gets the call from Hot 97. And he's the one that goes in as a creative director and he
mhm,
had pitched 2 shows or I'm not sure what happened, but the whole point is that my name was brought up in the meeting and that's how I landed What's the Word. So they thought I was a great fit for the profile of the show and I had already had the experience and the proof and evidence with Ask A Bar and that's what opened up that door. And then in landing that opportunity, then eventually came the, hey, we're considering you for a radio show on the radio. And over the summer, they put us to train how to do radio and etiquettes and this and the no's and the yes. And by September, we launched our Tri State of Mind show to the world at New York City and the Tri State area. And now I'm on the radio on Saturdays at 10 a.m. And that too has like changed my schedule as well because now I got to work around being on the radio at 10 a.m. every Saturday. And it is crazy. I still don't see it. Like I told you earlier, I had my old coworker reach out to me like, "You're a Hot 97?" And it's
yeah, it's
funny because
amazing.
I brought it up earlier and I forgot to mention, but I told him, I took the opportunity. I was like, "You remember that time you pulled me in the office?" And he was like, "I got to take my word back on that. You definitely made it happen." But I'm so happy you told me that in that moment because it challenged me. It was like, I know I have to make sure people see what everything A Bar is. And
Right,
I am where I am today. And I love that a lot of people that have been around for my journey to be able to see my growth because for me, this is not just for me, this is for them. It's like, I know a lot of people seen this moment before I saw it coming and I'm living in it. And it's like, it's regular to me. But to other people, like, yo, I'm so proud of you. And it makes me so happy because I can feel the genuine happiness that they feel for me, but for me, it's like I made this happen also for you because I know you saw the potential that was in me, and I
Right.
got to let you see it. And I feel like that's important. There's a lot of people that they don't get to show other people their potential.
Yeah, I think it's I'll tell you, like, it's super inspiring. Like, we just met, and, there is a proud feeling of even knowing somebody that's doing her thing. Like, it's dope because, they always say be careful the company you keep, the circle that you're around. Like, I've eliminated a lot of stuff around me because it doesn't feed the things that I'm trying to do. And, a lot of people that tell you, like, you're doing too much, you can't do I don't want to hear none of that. And to see you doing your thing on multiple, in multiple different facets of life is just super inspiring. Like that is like she's doing it. I can pursue the things that I want. It doesn't have to be the same thing that you're doing, but just the fact that you're juggling things, and you're executing, and it's amazing. And just to see all the things that you're able to do is super inspiring. And just even little things, Linda, when you post a video when you're in the cab on the way to the radio station, that shit is fulfilling for me too, because I'm like, damn, she's up. Right. A lot of times, like, I wake up on Saturday, and my first thing is, oh, I'm always on social media. So I go there and I'm like, shit, I gotta tune in. And I come downstairs, start making breakfast, and I start watching, and I'll start commenting, and it's super dope. So if for me, I could say, like, we don't know each other like on a personal level, but I am proud to know you, proud to know that I know
Thank
somebody
you.
that's getting to it, and I think that's yeah, I'm gonna keep saying the same thing. It's very inspiring. It's very
Thank you.
inspiring, and it makes me happy to see somebody doing some dope shit. That's it. That's
They come from crazy stories. I'm telling you, like it's like I know you also mentioned like that I'm on different platforms, like I'm on World Latin Star, Que Lo Que, LMP, and that's also been like just me putting myself out there. And I feel like I limit myself to how much I put myself out there. I put out content, but I'm not as consistent as my influencer friends who are content creators, and they post like
right,
3, 4 times a day. I don't have the time for that, and I don't have the staff or the personnel to help me with that, at least not right now. But I make sure that at least, I am putting myself out there. I'm going to events. I'm networking. I love meeting new people. Even just having conversations, because you just never know when you're gonna need somebody or
right.
why you're meeting somebody. Like you just never know. The last thing I was going to imagine is that I'm going to go support my friend's event. Mind you, this is just something that the college is doing, and the person that I'm going to meet by the end of that night is going to offer me opportunity 3, 4 months later to have a show on Hot 97. Like what?
It's huge.
Like
Yeah, it's huge.
you would have told me 3 years ago you're gonna be on Hot 97 next year. I would laugh at you because I'm like, I don't even have the number of followers for that. But I got just because this that's something that a lot of people like embed in their head that the followers is something, and I'm here to tell you that followers is nothing. Honestly, it is
Yeah.
quality over quantity. Because at the end of the day, and something that I had to take the whole follower thing out of my head in 2020. I had an epiphany, and I realized I'm like, yo. Remember I told you I was reading the Bible? Jesus had 5,000 followers, and that was a lot for him. I had like
Mhm.
5,000 followers on Instagram, and it's like, imagine having 30, 40, 100, 1,000,000 people. Like, that's a lot of energy, and
Yeah.
people are problems if you start considering it like that. So it was like, "Linda, stop worrying about followers. Your followers will come, but at the end of the day, that's not what's gonna make you. Because I don't wanna be remembered for having a lot of followers. I wanna be remembered for being impactful and having changed your life or teaching you
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different ways that I can, like, different type of content that I could release. Because it's been like, "Oh, you could do this, you could do," and, like, that's yes, I know I can. I can. I can take advantage of also, physical assets of mine, but no, for what? I don't wanna be remembered for that. Because one day Imma grow old too, and it's just like, I wanna die and at least leave a story that it had nothing to do with how you remember me physically, instead of how I helped you.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause
That's
people
awesome.
forget your face.
And then I also saw on one of and like what you're saying is like poetry to my ears. It's amazing. You also did one of the shows that I tuned into. You guys were doing like poetry, and I'm like, and then
Oh,
I think
yes.
you pulled out something from like the vault type thing, right? Like it was something that you had
Mhm.
written, and
I
that's why I
have
was just
no
like, this is dope too. Like you were reciting one of your poems, and I was like, this is dope. Like I really enjoyed it, and just to again to know the things that you do, and I'm interested in seeing your artwork too, because you said you get into that as well, and you
Imma
did the
show you
artwork
right
for
now.
your book. Yeah, hell yeah, please.
Yes? Okay, let's
Yeah,
take
I'm
the camera
genuinely
first.
interested. Yes, yes.
Let's
Show
go
us.
to the gallery. Okay. So funny.
That's super dope.
Alexa, turn on the living room. You ready? Okay. Wait, I can flip the camera on this? No, I
You can't?
can't, but my artwork.
What?
So I do a series on Rick and Morty. And, these are my Rick and Mortys. I also have Doug and Skeeter, Jimmy Neutron, that's Him and Her, that's Choices, that's The Lady in Red, that is New Yorker, California Dreaming, that's a 2023 edition of Rick and Morty, that's the 40 Fruit Tree. This one I started it off with wine. That's my first portrait of Rick and Morty in 2020. It's them entering every year, but that's him entering 2020, and that was the first one of the first ones I did. And
That's
then I
dope.
have this that's like something I'm creating, and my payphone. Thank you.
You
I'm
you
gonna
you
stay here. I'm gonna change my background now.
you have a lot of things, like, so I know we've gone through a lot. What inspires you? Like, what, being that you have so many different things that you have going on at different points, what does it
Mm,
for you?
I'm just intrigued by how things work. I'm very curious. So what inspires me is me.
Hmm.
It's gonna be me. I'm trying to, like, think, like, if there's somebody that I have people I look up to when I was little, but what inspires me, I think it's just me, like, me knowing that I've been able to accomplish certain things that people said I couldn't accomplish, and knowing that I consider myself a servant and I provide a service where it's just like, I can take away the ease of a problem for somebody or at least try to solve it and be resourceful, and I feel like that is what inspires me because I know I can continue to learn and I can and I've seen my growth education wise, like continuing my own education with my library and reading books and I inspire myself to be a better version of me every single day as much as I can.
That's
'Cause
dope.
we're only gonna grow so old. There's a song, "What a Wonderful World." I love that song because there's a piece of that song where he says, "I see children pass by, and I'll know that I'll never know as much as they'll know." And it's
Mm,
like, wow, like, yeah, you look at children, they'll learn things that you're never gonna learn. So, I only have so much time to read as many books as I can and to educate myself on certain things. Like, it's nice to go online and do research and stuff, but it's different when you pick up a book that you realize somebody sat there and put all these words into all these pages to teach you
right.
something or educate you on a specific subject specifically. Like I like to learn a lot, like I said, about the brain. I have a lot of books on the brain, and I feel like I built such an interest in the brain because that's where without that brain, we don't have a conscience. Without our brain, we can't see. Without our brain, like there's so many functions to existence and being an individual that requires you to have a brain. And I feel like it's important to learn your body so much that feeding your brain is as important. And you
Right.
can shape it by doing different brain exercises like playing chess, even if it's against yourself. But I feel like aside from physically working on my body, I try to make sure that I exercise my brain as much because everything that I want to do and accomplish in the future is going to require critical thinking.
You know what's interesting about what you're saying? I had a doctor on, a friend of mine. His dad is I'm gonna butcher this, optometrist. I did it. Okay,
What
an
is an
eye doctor.
optometrist?
I hope I'm saying it correctly, but yeah, so he is 83. So he was on, not this week, the previous. And he was talking about he still practices, right? He has a practice in Washington Heights. And he was saying in order to stay sharp, he works out. So you're already winning on on that end. And then what he does too is that he, the number pi in math, like
Yes,
3.14.
3.4.
So he practices every couple days to see how far he can go off his own mental. And he says
Mm,
that's what he does to try to stay sharp to keep the mind. Cause he's like, if you don't exercise your brain, it starts dwindling down. Like it just, and that's, I have a
mhm,
lot of people that see I'm heavy into ChatGPT. Like I use ChatGPT for every part of what I do, even like down to, my daughter's 12, gonna be 13. She's at that phase now where she doesn't really talk to me much and we bump heads. And
mhm.
before I go into something with her where I'm gonna, ground or whatever, like I'll talk to ChatGPT about it. And people tell me that like you need to use more of your cognitive skills and like you're relying too much on that. But the knowledge that I gain from using a tool like AI, like ChatGPT, has been very, very good for me at
Helpful.
least. I don't know about everybody else. But
I'm
just
not
like
gonna say that
yourself,
it's not a tool that you can use. I would say, and listen, I use ChatGPT too. It's just I feel like it's kind of like writing and writing.
Mm.
It's a touch that it's part of our human nature, and these are skill sets that we fought to have. Like there was a point in time, which is why I encourage people to read. There was a time in existence, and this wasn't even over 100 years ago, where we weren't allowed to learn how to read or write. And now that we have access to these resources, these things that we can actually use and grow as individuals,
Yeah,
we don't use them. We don't write
yeah.
letters. We don't sit down and read a book. Like we see a book and it's just like, ah. But we've lost touch with the value of things that we fought for, that we really wanted, and we don't value it anymore as much.
I agree with you. You know, it's that's one thing about me. Like, I'm very open. I have a very open mentality, and like something that you brought up is just books. Like, I have a ton of books behind me on the other side too. And somebody gave me some feedback on like my conversations. They're like, you should really look into some public speaking books, and I bought them. That was the first step. Have I read them? So we're
That's
not gonna we're
fine.
gonna get to that.
Books in my life I haven't read, even though I've read the majority of them, and I have over a
Same.
hundred books.
Same here. Like, and it's something, and I don't know about you, but like when I finish a book, it's almost like I go through a breakup. That's why it takes me a while to get into another book for some reason because I fall in love with it. But
You
I
gotta
tried to
you
keep,
gotta cheat on it. Well, you gotta start the new relationship. And have you ever tried reading two books at the same time?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. That's how
yeah,
I learned how to adapt with the breakups.
yeah. I
But then
have.
that's also how I also fell off, because I was reading 3 books at one point and I'm just like, I need to finish. I need to finish. Because there's the one book that I read every year is the Bible from front to back.
You've read the whole Bible before? Like,
And that was my goal in 2020. I said, I'm sorry, in 2019. And I made it a thing every year. I'm like, every day, Monday through Saturday, I have certain readings that I have to do. And
okay,
that's like my daily reading. I don't read it on Sundays because I go to church. But that's how I said I'm gonna keep the Bible active in my life. That's the only way. And I'm like that. At least if you can read one book throughout the year, and that one book is the Bible for me.
that's crazy. Yeah, I've tried. So I've read. I started from the beginning. So the
As
first,
you should, like any other book.
but because some people will give you the New Testament and then you start from
That's
there, and I'm like,
100% true, and that's something that I had to unlearn myself, because I went to Catholic school, like I told you, and not once in my all my years in Catholic school did they ever say, "Here, let's start reading the Bible from front to back." There's also
yeah,
different versions of the Bible, so you gotta educate yourself in the Bible's history. It's multi translation, and I have different versions of Bible. I have a Bible from 1964. That's
damn.
my oldest Bible here in my house. I have a different version, and that's a King James, um, not a new, yeah, King James version, not a new James version. I have the New International Version. I have the Message version. I have
Which
this is
one?
one of my latest edition, my Bible Action one.
Okay, okay. Which
Yeah,
one
so it's a
which one is the one that you feel most comfortable reading?
so I read from the Bible app.
Okay.
And I actually put it to play so that I can hear as I'm getting ready in the morning. I was really against audio books, but I have it there open and I can see like my highlights, and sometimes like even till this day, I have what? It's 2026. I have 7 years reading the Bible like consistently from front to back every single year. And every year just like there's a new epiphany, a new revelation, a new like it just changes constantly. And the only reason why I started reading the Bible was because I was about to walk away from religion completely, and not religion, I'm sorry, from like God completely. And I was like, before I
Mm.
do that, let me read what you left us, at least from front to back. Let me not be a hypocrite, because I can't talk anything about the Bible if I've never read it. I'm just a
Right,
hypocrite. So I started
right.
reading it and I never put it back down.
Yeah, no, the books that I've read, maybe I think 3 books from the Bible, and I have, I think, 3 different Bibles. I got the student version that gives you, like, the notes so you can see what certain things mean,
Mhm.
and it's the best book that best couple of books that I've ever read, because a lot of self-help books, and I'm into that a lot, they pull from the Bible, certain things from the Bible,
Yes.
which is pretty awesome. Damn, you're just you have to do a book about your life, like, for legit.
I
Legit.
autobiography.
Yeah, autobiography, yeah, 100%. And I think it's more than anything, it's so inspiring to hear the things that you say, and you've mentioned it a few times, and we'll start wrapping up here. Like the fact that you manifested things, like either you put something into writing or you like the fact that you tweeted something and then that became something. And I think what's powerful about you is it's not like you put a lot of work behind your words and the things that you think about. And I
And it's
think
crazy
that's
because sometimes I feel like I don't do enough.
yeah, yeah. And the reason that like I'm saying yeah is because I've had conversations with like my wife and my brother-in-law, and he's like, "Yo, you're doing too much," and I'm like, "Yo, dog." When I express myself, I talk in ghetto. I've
I
said that
talk in
before.
ghetto.
Yeah, like that's where I'm most comfortable. I'm like, like, yo, dog, I
That's
don't
your
think I'm
true
doing
you. It's
enough.
not about you be comfortable. It's your natural you.
Yeah, like that's when I start talking my shit like that is me. That's the unfiltered, not polished version. But I'm like, yo, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Like you're talking like you know what I mean? And that's why it's like when
Mhm.
you mentioned smoking, like I would advocate more for smoking versus picking up a glass of alcohol. Because at least tú te da una nota and you're back to normal in an hour, hour and a half, and you're
I
good.
can
Like it,
control it.
you know what
Which
I'm
is
saying? Like
why I
it's
prefer to have my grass, and there's people that like to tap into other stuff. I don't even like edibles like that. Like I try to keep it as natural as possible because even down to that is like I educated my I have a whole oh it's over there. I have a whole textbook of how healing with cannabis and how you're like I learned about how cannabis is a molecule that we're also born with
yeah, yeah.
cannabinoid in
Yep.
our and that's the only reason why we get high when we actually smoke the plant. So it's like I dived into the education of it because again, I'm Dominican and it's like that was a whole that's a whole nother story and a whole nother shock culture
Right.
for my family, my especially my parents, my mom and coming out per se as a story
Mhm.
and it's generational curses that we're trying to
To break, yeah.
demolish, yes,
Yeah.
and the stigma is also what, trying to demolish. You know how many people met me before I was in the stage and had something to say also about like smoky. And I don't post myself anymore like when I'm smoking, but there's a lot of people that don't know that I smoke. But it's
Mm,
also a stigma in the sense where
yeah,
people may think that I'm not capable enough to complete or do my work. I have
yeah.
clients that that's all that they're stoners. They smoke more than me, and they'll come and they'll do the taxes, and we'll smoke. We'll do a blunt, and like I am cohesive when it comes to still like but it's not for everybody, which is
You're
something that I
functional.
advocate to.
Yeah, you're
But
functional.
it's also part of like, Linda, how did you come up with this idea? I'm like, I was high. I'm not a sugarcoat it. Like, but I'll smoke and I'll just want to go to sleep. I'm like, not me. I want to freaking grab a canvas and paint. I want to like my mind just
Yeah, it
activates.
opens up.
And it is different. It's not for everybody. Not everything is for everybody.
This is what I'll say about that, and maybe, you agree or don't, but before I go into that point, Weed a Kit, you ever seen that show, Weed a Kit,
I
on
think
Vice?
so. I think
It's
I
like
saw like little snippets of
you should
it.
check it out. You should check it. It's super dope, especially because you're into learning about the brain. Like he really dives into different stories, and hopefully you'll find it interesting because again, like things that you get bored very quickly. Each
Mm,
episode is something different about cannabis.
mm.
And I wish they still gave that episode. It's super dope. Damn, I was gonna say. So with weed, I think where a lot of people fuck up in indulging is you wouldn't pop 4 ibuprofens or 5 in one shot, right? I mean, some of us do because whatever, but
I've had headaches that don't go away, and I've seen myself pop 3 to 4.
so let's say something else. Let's say a different type of like NyQuil. You wouldn't drink the whole bottle. Let's just put it that way, right?
No.
You would not. So it's
Mm.
the same thing with weed, where I feel like a lot of people that do try it for the first time or have tried it a couple times, they overdo it and then they end up hating it. And I
Yeah,
always
that was my
advocate,
first time. You know what's so funny? The first time I smoked, that's exactly what happened to me. And I was actually 17, but I feel like this was also God protecting me to protect my
yeah,
brain to let it develop. Because I didn't start smoking. I didn't become like a smoker until I was like 25, 26. But I didn't start smoking again until 24 years old. That was the next time I tried weed. But the first time I tried it, I had super paranoia. And I was like, never again in my life. And then the second time, years later, when I tried, I was like, where has this been all my life?
yeah.
So it
That's
was
so
a whole different perspective.
yeah, 100%. So the reason I guess I use ibuprofen, so I have lupus and psoriatic arthritis.
Oh,
Yeah, so I take a high dosage. I take 800 milligrams, and at one point it was like it made me feel a little dizzy. Now it's like popping like a sour power or something. Like it's nothing. So I would never take I tried to take like a one pill and I cut one in half and I started sweating. I started losing my shit. So ever since then, I always tell people that are around me, I'm like, if you're gonna take a pull for the first time,
Yeah,
come, you know what I mean?
I've
Like,
given people experiences where it's just like, all right. The other thing is the setting, and that's something that a
gotcha.
lot of people don't factor in. The setting is that is so important with any psychedelic, because even I've had people offer me LSD, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
LSD. I've never tried anything else because again, I'm not gonna put a substance in my body that I'm not gonna learn how the heck is it gonna affect my body.
Right.
You gotta be smarter than that. Some people, they go by their emotions. I need to go by logic. But, I wouldn't dive into anything else because it's just like I'm fine with my weed. Like if I want to like boost my little booze, I'm gonna just have a drink. But even
Yeah.
right now I'm not even drinking. And it's like the setting is so important because when I first smoked, I was in my ex's house. I had snuck on my house that day. And it's like three
So
in the
you're already
morning. So
paranoid.
I was already paranoid. So it's like a lot of things factor in when you're gonna do something for the first time.
Right.
And the setting is the most important thing. I've learned to like, there's a lot of people like, oh, I want to try. So I tell them like, come to my house, like I'll create a safe environment, safe
Right.
space, some food, like if you need to like go to sleep, like, and I've given a lot of people a lot of first time experiences where there's just like, they've learned to microdose until they know what kind of, to their limit.
Right.
And I'm grateful for being able to like have educated myself to learn to teach that to other people as well.
Yeah, I think it's super important, and I wish more people that were interested in that. And like, I know that you made a book around like your inspiration of marijuana. I
Oh,
just wish like more people would really like
I'm gonna show you
control what they
before.
would control themselves. Like you wouldn't down a whole bottle of Hennessy the first time you're ever drinking. Like
No.
it's the same thing with marijuana. Like take a pull, see how you feel, and I think you raise a good point. The setting too, you gotta be feel comfortable, you gotta feel safe, things like that.
Mhm.
You gonna show me the book?
Oh, yes, I was gonna wait till, like, the end, but this is my first book, Free Smoke Dreaming,
That's so
and,
dope.
this is the second book, The Word.
That's dope. Let me see the
Thank
cover of
you.
the first one.
The first one, everybody loves this cover.
Yeah, it's super funky.
It's very funky. So
Yeah,
every letter comes from a different, brand.
that's dope. I like
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, thank you.
That's dope. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it. I know I've taken more time than I said I would, but I thank you so much for
It was
for
fine. I go with the vibe and I go with the flow, so the conversation was flowing, so were
and
we.
you was with it. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it's I'm super appreciative that you came on the show, that you were open to having a conversation with me. I'm
Mhm.
thankful that I shot my shot when I did, and I remained in it. I kept on like I'm
You kept on
probably coming.
insisting. Yes.
Yeah, I was like I hope I'm not annoying you, but like I really would like. I think it would be a dope episode. And the one thing I'll add to it is your energy, like you are a light by yourself. Like when I
Oh,
see you on High 97, like your personality draws people in. The same thing when I see you, like when you post things on Instagram, it's the same thing. Like I stop to hear what you're saying, even when you're on the cab. Like that cab ride lets me know like I gotta get up and tune in. Like sometimes I'll stay in bed and
yeah,
I'll
that's my
watch it.
alarm. That's my silence in the cab. That means I gotta get up.
Yeah, I'm like, that's it. Like the show's about to start. But yeah, just want to say, thank you. And before we do wrap this up, is there anything that you want to give off to the audience, to the viewers, the listeners, anything that you would like to say before we wrap up?
I will say this: purpose and place. If it doesn't have a purpose, it doesn't have a place. And if it does have a purpose, make sure
Yeah,
you're the
that's
place. And if you're not,
mm,
sure, change your setting.
powerful. Let's snap it up for that one. Well, Linda, thank you so much. I wish you nothing but success and happiness in everything that you do. Like I said,
Likewise,
you are a light that you bring a lot of great energy. And even starting this episode, you filled me with energy as well because life is lifing for me. And I'm like, I've been waiting for a call about a job the whole day, and I've been nervous and like your energy made me forget about that. Like life is still gonna be there, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because like your energy, the conversation was so dope that everything is okay.
everything is okay and it's gonna be okay because if it's not for you, remember purpose and place. And that means that
Right,
wasn't, you didn't have a purpose there. So that's why they didn't give, God didn't put you a place there.
right.
But I
Amen.
will put it in prayer that if it isn't in his will for your life, that job is yours. So you don't have to, why worry about the things that God already has in control?
100%. I agree.
It's
I agree.
Saturday.
And that's
I
why
mean, whoa, it's Friday. I'm like,
Tama
wait,
puwede
Saturday?
ahead. But yeah, like you gotta lay it in his feet. But again, thank you so much for being on here. This is gonna release next Wednesday, so I have it all nice and put
I'm
together.
excited.
Um, and we'll tune in tomorrow. Hear your words, what you got set up for tomorrow's show. Thank you so much for joining the show. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate it. It's an honor and I'm excited. And hopefully I'll be coming back
Yes,
to
for
finish
sure.
the other
Hopefully it'll be
stories.
in person. I'll go either up to New York or you'll be
Yes.
down here. Yeah, we're not gonna let this happen virtually again, for sure.
Okay, I appreciate that. You enjoy your Florida weather. I will enjoy this New York spring weather that's been like acting
On and
like a
off,
New
right?
York, a New Yorker.
A New Yorker. Well, thank you, Linda.
You're
Appreciate you.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.